Welcome. Today we have Codyflips with us today, and we were just talking behind the scenes about a bunch of different stuff. One thing we didn't talk about is how your December was, but I saw in your story it was like something like, what was it, like 200K in December?
we did hit 200K in December. Yeah, so basically the last part of Q4 on Amazon I sold over 500K, which is pretty cool, right? But I have to be very transparent. The margin on that was about 7 to 8%. But I have to say, like, the credit card rewards, the cashback hit, it was a ton of work. But like basically at the end of Q4, coming out of it, we made like 45K-ish. So, people might say, oh, that's a lot in sales for a little bit of margin, but I don't care. Like, as long as I make more,
make the money.
My job that I worked, it took me an entire year for 10K when I was working part-time. And if I was working full-time, I would get paid at like a basically minimum wage job, like $25,000 a year to make. I feel like we get in this like bubble, right? But to make 45K in 3 months is insane,
right?
To put it lightly. So, and you don't need a degree. You don't need a college degree for this. You don't need like a certificate, right? You basically just need. You don't even need to live in the United States. You can live. I'm sure you know people too, Seth, where they don't even live in the United States. They sell in the U.S. market. So I just want to put that out there. That anybody could really watch Seth's content, learn E to A, learn A to A, learn whatever model, right?
And can you explain to the people what E to A and A to A is? Because we just throw that.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Some people haven't even done this at all. Some people are like, all right, like give us the advanced stuff. Well, we'll get to the advanced stuff. Don't worry, guys. But what is E to A? What is A to A?
Yeah, for E to A is basically just buying on eBay for a low price and then selling on Amazon for more. If anybody tells you anything different, like that, like it's just raw. It's just you buy cheap and then you sell higher here. It's one of basically the oldest professions. We're just doing arbitrage, right? You're just finding something low in one market and then selling it in the other market, and that little difference in between, you keep. That's essentially what we're doing. And then with A to A, it's just doing the same thing, but just on one platform. So it's a little bit more confusing when I say A to A, but basically say Amazon's running like a huge sale on an item, right? Say it's $100 item. They discounted it all the way to $20. You buy it at $20. And then when Amazon's out of stock on that product or basically doesn't have that product at that price anymore, you sell it for the retail price, which was $100. So you just basically just do that. It doesn't always work out like that with those type of margins, but I'm just saying that, like, basically there's a very discounted, usually it's something there's a retail price, super discounted. You buy it up well below retail, and then you sell it at retail or above retail. And that's pretty much the gist of A to A.
And so for that business model, a lot of what people do is there's kind of like, at least from my understanding, a lot of what people do is they either go on like the Keep a Deals section, and that kind of just shows a bunch of stuff that was recently discounted severely, or they have certain items that they have a suspicion that are going to be a low price that they can have on a keep alert, and it'll send you an email when these things go in stock at a certain price. And then they basically just snipe that stuff and they buy like 13 units at $20, and then it goes out of stock, and then they sell it back for the regular price. There's a million different ways to make money on Amazon. That's the beauty of it.
Exactly.
Like even within eBay to Amazon, which is what I specifically do, like almost every seller that I talk to does it a slightly different way. Almost everyone has their different little niche. Like they do things differently. Some people just do DVDs. Some people just do books. Some people just do electronics. Some people do apparel. Some people do health and household. It's just a ton of different ways to do things.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different. It always comes down to you buy low here and then you sell higher here. We didn't really talk about it too much because it's been a a while since me and Seth have, done interviews like this, but I don't even source pretty much any of my 𝗬 products anymore. I have a virtual assistant do it. I like to call him an employee. That's maybe a big thing. That's everybody calls them virtual assistants, but I call them an employee because they're an actual person, right? But I've taught him just the basics. I was like, we find it cheap here, and then we find it on Amazon for more. And I gave him pretty much complete control, and then just showed him, what I like buying. And then I showed him like the profit and loss of each item. Like this item made us $5. This item made us, $200. This item lost us $10. So he knows, okay, not doing the $10 minus $10 one again. All right, doing the $200 profit one, And that's pretty much, as far as my 𝗬 business goes, that's pretty much how it goes right now. I just kind of review and buy.
Does he have access to your inventory lab ASIN profitability?
No, but I export. So this is a really good tip for the people that haven't, if you haven't started on Amazon yet, or you're just beginning and you don't know about Inventory Lab, I would highly suggest getting it. It's like $80 a month, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. But the accounting headache in this business, that $80 is going to be the best $80 you've ever spent. And I'm not like sponsored by them or anything like that.
I don't even know if they do. I think they just recently started doing affiliate stuff. But
and then
honestly, I can't be bothered with affiliate stuff. At least that's the way I do content. I'm like,
even the affiliates, you get like $5. Like it's nothing.
Yes,
but
you kind of got to be a big content person for it to make a big difference.
But
anyways, Inventory Lab.
Yeah, for sure. So for Inventory Lab, in my opinion, you pretty much have to have it, because if you don't, you're going to be scrambling during tax time. It's going to be the worst life experience you have ever had. That's what happened to me before. And then I've had an Inventory Lab, and it's been fine since that. Like these past 2 years, absolutely amazing, like books wise. And I've talked to so many people. Tax time, what is it? We're a few days away from tax time too, right?
Recording on April 11th.
Yeah, right now recording it, it's April 11th. So I'm just letting people know for next year's tax time, or maybe if this launches right before they listen to this, right? Inventory Lab, super important for that. But ASIN profitability is the lifeblood of my business, because that shows you, did you make money? Yes or no? It shows you this item. Did you make money? Yes or no?
And it factors in all the fees. It factors in returns. It factors in all of that stuff. And so like sometimes you'll sell something and it'll look like it's profitable, and then you don't realize they got returns like a high percentage of the time, and you actually didn't make as much money as you thought. But you just see it in your Seller Central, like, wow, bought for 40, sold for 100. Like, awesome. I did this 16 times, but like still somehow lost money if it was like a 50% return rate. Like,
they don't realize that apparel item that they sold 8 separate times was the same item, and it got returned 8 separate times.
Yeah. That's been one thing that's been helpful with FBM. Like I'm catching that stuff a lot better, because it's like, okay, this item keeps going back to me. Or like once it gets returned and like I see in the customer comment, like could not connect to internet or something like that, I like put a little black sticker on it. I'm like, all right, someone said this was a problem. If I get this back and it has a black sticker on it, like I am not selling this again. That's one way to do it. I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but that's what I'm doing it now.
We're gonna touch on that in like just a second, but I wanted to finish what we were talking about on the Inventory Lab. But basically, once you get Inventory Lab, because you're a very smart person, you're gonna go into Inventory Lab. You go under, I believe it's like category ASIN profitability, and then in Inventory Lab under ASIN profitability, it will show you everything, right? And I do a date range export, which is just a fancy way of saying, like, I say, hey, from the first of the month to the last of the month, what did we sell and how much profit did it make, right? So my VA conveniently started, my virtual assistant, my employee, right, whatever you would like to call them, they conveniently started basically at the beginning of this year. So I have a custom supplier SKU. So I know that the item that I sold, he sourced, and it shows me the item that he sourced, how much profit it made. So I know what to pay him because he gets paid a base rate and then he gets paid commission. So it might seem ridiculous, but he gets paid $2 an hour right now, but he gets paid a commission tier, and that's tiered based on how much profit he makes, the company. So basically, he's incentivized to get better.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be like, oh, you know, I need you to find some good stuff, right? He's like, he wants to make more money, so then it makes sense. But what was the black sticker thing you were talking about? You put a black sticker on it?
I'm curious your thoughts on this, but like, so also, honestly, I'm moving away from higher return items, but for a while I was selling a ton of routers. And so people will complain that they can't connect it to the internet or something's wrong with it. And I'm like, okay, like instead of like spending tons of time to like confirm what they're saying, because it's like, am I going to sit here and like connect every single router to the internet? Like every time I sell a router, I just put a black sticker on it. And if I see that it comes back to me again, I'm like, okay, like they're telling the truth. Like this thing isn't good. I'm going to liquidate this. So that's my take, for better or for worse. That's how I do it.
So that would be is that a router that you initially sold used or new?
No.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
I could totally see how. All right. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. You thought it was used? Like, what do you mean?
I thought it was like used, weren't testing, sent it.
Oh, no.
And then it was like, well, you said it didn't work.
No, those are 2022 mistakes, Cody. I've matured a little bit. So for context, I did eBay to Amazon in 2022, and I was doing it with used items, and I was sending used items to a prep center, not testing them, sending them straight to the customer, and lots of my items ended up getting broken. So I learned my lesson with the return rate on that one, and I don't do that anymore. Live and learn.
Yeah. I mean, we've all made a lot. I've made a lot of really dumb mistakes. Like, so you see the Q4 numbers. After Q4, people are gonna hate me for this. I'm not gonna say which retailers, because I don't want to get on anybody's back. I don't want the retailers to hear this. But I returned over $30K worth of stuff.
Oh my goodness.
I returned, but I bought so much. So roughly on that, I would have bought over $200K worth of inventory. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's not like that.
They moved a lot of stuff.
Yeah, my thought process, especially at the end of it, was like just go deep, you know?
Yeah, but then the stuff just didn't sell as fast as you thought, or?
Kind of, like some of it you just couldn't really tell. My main issue, and for the people
Did stuff get dog paged?
What was that?
Did stuff get dog paged? Like just the infamous dog page. So annoying.
Have you gotten dog paged once?
I've been dog paged a couple times recently. Thankfully it was on items that I was like $50 deep on, so I'm like, all right, whatever.
Okay,
that's
not that bad.
Yeah, so basically for those people who don't know, every once in a while you'll be selling an item, and for whatever reason the Amazon listing page gets taken down and there's no listing to sell it on, and it shows just a random generated picture of a dog, and they're like, oops, sorry. And you're like, well, I just lost money.
Yeah. I haven't really gotten dog paged too many times. There was a few times that were really hurt. Like there was some only in Amazon. There was like some tampons that I was selling, and I got dog paged, and I definitely lost like $800.
Gosh.
Yeah. It's because it wasn't a branded listing. It was like one of those. It can't even happen anymore. But basically, if a listing's like generic now, I would just avoid it entirely, because you could get dog paged, or you could get your account shut down because you're selling on a generic listing, from my understanding. So I avoid them entirely.
That's like part of Section 3, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know all the terminology, but
You wanna let's talk about that for a second.
yeah.
What's your take on Section 3s, and have you like had experience with people who are dealing with this? Have you had to deal with this? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So I only know 2 people that have got their account like pretty much shut down for Section 3. So somebody that I know that I actually helped sell on Amazon got Section 3'd, and he was doing eBay to Amazon, and then the other guy wasn't. But basically, I personally don't know exactly how he fought it off, but he sought legal help. That was the only thing that helped him. He sought legal help. He submitted some documents, and then basically he was able to get his account back. As far as I've never got my account reinstated from being deactivated in Section 3 before, thankfully, right? But usually what Amazon's looking for is a plan of action plan. So basically you explain, hey, I messed up doing this thing, and this is specifically why I got deactivated, and you guys told me that, right? And then you go, hey, I'm going to be good and not do this anymore. And then here's like the 3 reasons why it's going to be different this time. And they just want to know that you're willing to change, because what you were doing before was not in their terms of service / bad in the eyes of Amazon. And then now you're going to be good. So that's pretty much all Amazon wants, whether you get deactivated regularly or you get, Section 3 or, I've been on other marketplaces other than Amazon. Like I used to sell on Facebook Marketplace, and they wanted the same thing too. Like I told them, hey, I listed this item. It was infringing on somebody's intellectual property. Apparently that's what Facebook said. And I basically said, hey, we're taking these steps to not do that anymore. And then I got my Facebook Marketplace selling account back. And it's as simple as that, really. I know there's a kind of long response, but.
No, that's a good perspective. I think a lot of people forget how best to deal with serious Amazon issues. They almost always want you to take some kind of responsibility and like show how you're gonna like actually change in the future. And
right.
Usually things go better. Like if there's an actual issue, like admitting fault, this isn't like legal advice. Like you do your own research, obviously. Like we're not
legal advice. Thank you, Seth. Not what I said, what Seth said. It's all
like from our general experience, in my experience as well, like admitting, just kind of owning up to your mistakes and talking about how you're going to make a change has been helpful.
Yeah. The other thing too, which was I was going to say, but kind of forgot. But basically, in Seth has a free group. There's other free groups out there, right? Post that you're having an issue about Section 3, and then you can connect to somebody else. Like if somebody DM'd me, hey, I have a Section 3 issue, I know 2 people that have resolved it. Like I don't know the specific steps that they took, but you can reach out to them and they'll help you out. Like I think we get in this like ball of like, oh, I have this problem and nobody can help me and I'm the only person that can do this. It's like, no, dude, like tons of people have went through this before. Like just find somebody that already went through
it. Life hack, just like actually connect with other people who have done the thing.
Exactly.
Like somebody has done the thing in most situations.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like, oh man, I don't know how to like flip items eBay to Amazon, right? You're gonna go to Seth. Like, who else would you really go to?
Or Cody's VA.
What's that?
Or Cody's VA.
Or my VA, right? You go to my VA.
It was the funniest thing, Cody. Like our conversation, like it was like 4 or 5 months ago, and you're like, Seth, like I just told my VA to like look for stuff that was like actually had profit, and he found stuff and we're making money. You're like, let's go.
You find it low here and then you find it higher here. That's all it, as long as you know it sells at that higher price, right? And the price isn't going to tank, or the price isn't going to, like, the price is going to stay the same, and you're buying it low, you're like, and you know it sells. It's really that simple.
So like obviously use a tool that like calculates your fees, like whatever tool it is, like use SellerAmp, use RevSeller, use a free calculator. Nobody cares. Just like make sure that the fees are like calculated. You can't just be like, oh, I bought the item for 200 and I'm going to sell it for 220 and it's fine. Like, no, in some situations you're going to lose money because of fees in that. Like it's important. Like you can't just be like, there are no fees. No, there's fees and there's shipping. But that's calculated in the calculators.
So I loved what you said. Like, use whatever calculator. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Like
I've seen it. It's like people get tripped up about like, oh, should I use SellerAmp? Should I use like the free calculator? Should I use the quick view? What's the one that you use?
It sounded like you were gonna say like Amazon DS Quick View or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I use RevSeller and
RevSeller, right? There's all sorts of different ones. It's like you just pick one and then just stick with that one.
Or like you use it for a month and you're like, this was okay, but it doesn't have the features I like. And then from there you improve your business. Like Cody didn't get to making 45K in 3 months because he's like, I need everything to be perfect right now from the get-go. Like he screwed up for like a long time before that and like got better and better over time. And he went from making nothing a month to 500 a month to 1,000 a month while he was doing his other job. And then he improved slowly over time. That's how it goes. So like use a freaking calculator. Nobody cares. Just pick one and like improve over time.
That's the thing. There was John in the community. I'm sure people are watching this and they're in the community.
Side Hustle.
Yeah, John Side Hustle Experiment. He posted this thing. I really liked it. And he said like he went to the gym and he did his workouts and usually he brings like a towel from home, right? And he didn't have a towel from home and he's like sweating all over the place, right? And he just used his shirt and he's like, this is literally what the successful people do. It's like, no matter the situation, you use like the best. I guess it's also, there's probably a big chess analogy in here. Mr. Magic made flips, where it's like, no matter what position you're in, you got to make the best move, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of these guys do is no matter what position they make the best move. Like I didn't make like any money for a very long time. And it's like, you just gotta try to make the best move every single time. And then it's like, oh my gosh, sold a bunch. Must be nice. It's like, yeah, it took like 5 years. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
yeah, it's like you build up those skills over time. Speaking of this concept as well, we were going to talk, you were asking a little about Walmart before we started recording. So I opened a Walmart account, and speaking of this, like it's kind of weird, like you've sold on Amazon for a long time. Like we have our software stacks that we're just like comfortable with. I'm like, so if I'm going to sell on Walmart, like what are my softwares? Like how am I going to do my bookkeeping? How am I going to like understand what the fees are? Like how am I going to do all this stuff? So here's what you should do if you're trying to sell on Amazon or Walmart. Like number 1, open the account. That's your first step. Like if you don't open the account, like nothing's going to happen. But like I did that before I knew all of the different softwares that I was going to use. Like literally last month, I sat there with my abacus and added up my profit from the like 20 items that I sold.
Is that like the bead thing?
What's that?
Is that the bead thing?
I slid the beads over.
You slid the. Do you actually have that? Or you just?
I sat cross-legged with. I folded up my mustache.
You curled it up a little bit.
Yeah, and I sang Kumbaya and I slid my abacus and I added up my profits from Walmart last month without my bookkeeping software that I'm so used to. I still don't have a bookkeeping software. I don't know what a good solution is, but we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah. I'm definitely with you there, Seth. I haven't sold anything on Walmart yet. I know we kind of like skipped over it, but was when you signed up for Walmart, was it just you signed up and you got in first try?
I heard that there was a period around a year ago where it was like a lot of people were getting denied, like more so than now. So around a month and a half ago, I signed up and I got approved my first try.
Wow.
They wanted to like call me and like talk to me, and I missed their call like 4 times. They like kept calling me like while I was running or like some random time. But they were like super. They're like, "Hello, sir. It's good to contact you. Good to get connected with you." Like they asked me a couple questions and I was approved. You had to do like 3 steps or something. I don't know. It was like not that bad.
Okay.
What was your experience?
I got denied twice.
When did you apply though?
What was that?
When did you apply?
I want to say the first time was like 4 months ago, and that first time I was denied was like 4 months ago, and then the time after that was about 2 months ago, and I like just got in like a month ago.
Okay.
So it took me 3 separate times.
Yeah. One thing that I felt like I could have messed up on is like my EIN, like my business. I like switched my business name and my address. So I had to explain to them that my address wasn't updated. So if I had put the address that I'm currently at, I think it would have gotten denied, but I put my old address because that's what's on the documents. So there's just like,
For the LLC?
What's that?
Was that your registered business address for your LLC? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I hadn't updated my address. So just weird little nuances, like when you apply for that type of stuff, if like one detail's wrong, they might deny you. So
when you put in, I'm very curious, when you put in they say like you need a website, and did you put in your website or what did you put in that field?
I put my Amazon store.
Got it. So I put my Amazon store twice and then I got denied.
Yeah.
The third time I put it in, I got approved though. So
it must have been another issue because like you sell more than me, and I promise you have better feedback than I do. So, my feedback is so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm really not too sure. So life hack. This goes back to the earlier life hack. I was like, I don't know how to get approved for Walmart. Let me just find somebody that already got approved. I found somebody that also got denied like me, and then they got approved. And he told me like I paid 80. So funny. I paid $80 for a guy on Fiverr to make a website for me. And then I was going to submit that, but I was like, oh, I'll just submit like one more time with my Amazon storefront and just see what happens. And I got in.
Did you switch other details?
I didn't. The only thing that I changed was the email. So like when you get denied, as far as I know, you can't just input the same email again and then be fine. I just put in a different Gmail and they just let me through. Same everything. I don't know what the issue was, but they let me in. So
interesting. I don't know. Like it could literally be as simple as like sometimes ungates are glitchy and you can't get approved the first time when you have all the right information. It literally could have been something like that.
I might be like super skeptical about like I don't know how to say it other than this, but like I'm in Florida. You're I'm assuming it was like somewhere in Colorado.
Yeah.
And basically I think that maybe because I'm in Florida, because there's all these other resellers, maybe they only want to give it to people that are a little bit more dedicated, if that makes sense. So like maybe they got denied a few times and they're able to stick through it and then still go through it. I really don't know like what other reason there would be. That's just kind of my, I don't know why they would have denied me.
Yeah, I don't know. That the idea of Walmart denying you because you live in Florida is just like doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
I don't know why. I know there's a lot of resellers in Florida, but like, really, are they going to deny like you because you live? They're statesist. against.
No. I meant by like the amount, like the quantity of resellers,
Yeah.
Like they just wanted to slowly roll it out per state, like they might have a specific quota behind it. I'm just saying, I'm like, I don't know, but I don't know why they would deny me. So I'm just saying there are a lot of resellers here. Maybe they're like, we don't need another Walmart seller in Florida right now.
73% of our sellers in the United States are from Florida. So like we are banning Florida.
Fun kind of for the people that know a little bit about wholesale, there's like this software called Smart Scout. I've never paid for it, but there's a free trial. And I looked and it shows you like where Amazon sellers like live, right? And if you look at Miami, like there will be like a yellow dot. And if you look at Miami, it's like it's like the most insane thing I've ever seen. It's like a whole, like everywhere in the United States, it's like, oh, there's like a few like yellow dots. In Miami, it's just like tons of Christmas trees of like dots. And it's just because there's hundreds, there's probably like hundreds of thousands of like just Amazon sellers in Miami.
That's fascinating. They all moved to Miami, and that's the dream to do away from a
I guess
$7K a month rent skyscraper.
I think a lot of them are private label.
Yeah, that too, probably.
Like that's the thing that I didn't notice is like as arbitrage sellers, we're kind of like we're like the minority. Most people are usually private label. That's like the most they're either usually private label, some type of wholesale / agency where they partner with a brand to sell their stuff on Amazon. And then arbitrage, like we're not that it's bad. I think arbitrage is one of the best entry points because then you can get into those other two like more scalable business models, more scalable business models.
Yeah.
But if you want to not be broke, arbitrage is the best model in my opinion, because there's no other model. Like wholesale, you need like 5-10K. Private label, you need like 5-10K to start.
And if you do wholesale your 5-10K without knowledge, you're gonna get screwed.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
like bro doesn't even know how to read a Keepa chart, and he's spending 10K on like products. He's like, nah, I don't need to keep a subscription, but he's paying 10K for wholesale products.
Right. And then you gotta pay probably 2K for the mentorship, right?
Yeah.
Like I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but if you're doing wholesale, you probably need some type of mentorship, unless you just get it right off the bat. Same with private label. Like I pay for private label mentorship. I'm not planning on starting a private. I feel like private label is still like way above my pay grade, like at all. Like private label is like, oh, like you need like 200K in the bank because you're just experimenting. From what I learned, you're deploying, say 5. I've never done private label, so I'm just putting that out. This is a perspective of somebody that hasn't. But you're pretty much deploying anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 on a product that you've done the research and you've validated. But let's be honest, like everything could go wrong, and then you could just be out like 4 to 8K.
But the idea is once you find something that you do the marketing on right and sell well, like you just keep replenishing that, and you just
correct.
Then you're retired, and then you exit.
Yup. Then you're retired. You're getting paid. You're getting paid the big bucks. You just like replenish the same ASIN every single day, and it never goes out of stock because you're the only person. If somebody hops on your listing, you can IP people, which is funny.
And then you make listings for obscure pioneer car speakers, and you put like your own private label wire with it, and then you private label people, or then you IP people who come on the listing.
I feel like you're talking about this.
I'm
like,
talking from personal experience. Yeah, because a couple of years ago there were speakers that were really profitable that I wanted to buy RA, and I couldn't because some person did this, and they like made like the listing that was actually getting traffic, like they put their like their own private label headphones as part of the listing with like, yeah, anyways, I was just salty about that, but it's a smart, I mean, that's a whole business model that you can do. You can just literally make listings of stuff that doesn't have a listing and have traffic to it and put your own private label thing on it, and then IP people who come on the listing.
Yeah, there was this one product very similar to what you said, Seth, that I was selling, and it was like this pen. I made like $2,300 profit off of it. It was insane. But technically in the listing, you're supposed to sell it with like this like tiny like wipe, like kind of like a microfiber wipe. It was like it was like this big.
The guy wasn't monitoring his listing.
And yeah, well, he eventually IP'd me because I didn't have his like little wipe or whatever.
Yeah.
but I'm just thinking, like, you know, I was on there for like a month, made pretty good money, and then got kicked off. But it's like that guy's selling that for years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, was he literally making like 2K a month? 2-3K a month from it?
I bet he was making 2-3K a month just off of that. And it's like
fascinating.
But what he did I call it the agency model. I'm sure there's something you could, you know, I call it the agency model, where basically you reach out to a brand. So you're doing wholesale, but then you go, hey, I can actually add value. So his value add was this stupid little microfiber wipe or whatever. And that was his value add. Was he's like, oh, he approaches a brand. So Seth, I'm going to imagine you're a brand right now. All right.
Okay. So I sell, what am I selling? I'm selling gaming mice.
All right. Hello, Mr. Gaming Mice brand, right? I see that you are doing a very great job selling on Amazon, but
wow,
I think that if you let me have access, I will create 10 variation listings for you, and it will 10x your sales on Amazon. All right.
Right.
Right. So you let me do that, right? So I'll make variation listings for you. I'll do bundle listings for you. And, you know, I'll improve your copy. I'm not going to mess with your pre-existing listings. I'm just going to make you more money. Is just making you more money good? Sound like a good deal for you, Seth?
That sounds great. I mean, I literally met someone in Miami at that conference a couple months ago. They do like 4 million a year, and that's their model. Like they reach out to brands, brand directs, they add value to the brands, and they just go crazy with it. Like,
right.
Very different model. Like that's like a very, yeah, I don't know, like the whole like private label or like adding value to brands thing. It's a super valuable thing. It just doesn't sound fun to me.
Right.
Like It seems like good money, honestly, like valuable skill. I just don't think I want to do that.
I mean, there's different ways to do it, but like
that's the beauty of it.
I feel like I wouldn't start a PL at first. I would rather help out a pre-existing like small. There's so many small to medium-sized brands that have like terrible product photos and like super bad copy that you could literally just get their copy, like figure out their target market, and then look at the basically. All right, let's say there's a small size brand that sells hot sauce on Amazon, and their copy, so like on the Amazon listing, it says like, you know, 10-ounce hot sauce bottle and nothing else. You could make copy using ChatGPT, basically saying like, oh, this is like the hottest sauce you're ever gonna, you know, have a blast with friends, this and that, and basically like sell it in the copy, and then basically provide that value and be like, hey, to the brand, the small medium-sized brand that like doesn't really even know how to sell on Amazon. Hey, I already made this listing with updated product photos and the copy's better. If you would let me like have access, or like you could either sell that to them, right? Just give me $200 and I'll give you like this whole thing and it'll improve your sales. Or you'd be like, hey, try this out for free, and then let me manage your brand for you for like a set monthly amount or whatever. Like there's so many different ways to chop it. That I call that the agency model. I'm sure there's some other word for it, but
there's
a really cool method. Was that?
There's a million ways to do it on Amazon. You could do that exact same thing, but then ask for like exclusive access to sell their brand wholesale.
Right.
That's what people do.
That would make an insane wholesale in, like you said, because like a lot of these other, I'm not speaking for every person that does wholesale, but from what I've seen in the wholesale community, it's like, let me sell your products on Amazon. It's like, bro, they don't care about like you specifically, you know?
I just want to sell more stuff. Yeah.
Like, it's not always about just like, it is about money, but it's not always about just like, oh, let me buy your stuff and sell it. Like, they might want help. They might need help, you know? Like, if they're already selling to these other people, why would they sell to you unless you offered something unique? Like, if you were like, hey, I can sell your product in Canada, and they're only selling it in the US, it's like, I want to give you guys a global presence. You guys are currently
That sounds so nice.
What was that?
That sounds so nice.
I know. Seth, you have your Gaming Mass brand. You're currently selling in the United States. Are you selling in Canada right now?
I want to sell in China.
Okay, we can expand to the China marketplace, right? You go wherever, right? Brazil, there's the UK, whatever. I personally don't really know how to deal with all those different marketplaces. I'm sure it's probably just like Abundant and Seller Central, but I'm just saying, like, there's different ways where you can add value, where, you know, maybe everybody's doing wholesale, but they only sell in the US, and then you're the Canada guy because you happen to live in Canada, or you just know how to sell on Amazon Canada, and you go, hey, you know, I know all these guys are selling your stuff, but like, I want to be the exclusive Canada seller because I know it will make you guys an extra $1,000 a month, whatever, right? Based on your metrics, I'm projecting $1,000 a month. Let me do it for free. I'll even buy the products up front. And it's like, you know, you gave me an offer I can't refuse, you know?
Yeah. And so you kind of answered this a little bit, but like, what would you say your 1-year plan is with business, with Amazon? Like, what do you think you're moving towards? What do you think you're moving away from? Like, what's your plan?
As it stands right now, I really just want to like 10x arbitrage.
Yeah.
I don't really want to do the other models. I think they're good, but I enjoy the arbitrage model. It kind of sucks sometimes, but it's just so easy to just like, you buy here, you sell here. You basically don't do any work, like as far as listing creation, all this other stuff. So like, just doing arbitrage seems really nice, but maybe eventually do like the private label, or honestly have a different business.
Yeah. So like, kind of once arbitrage is actually like grown some more, then you would add another business.
Possibly. You know, everybody that I know, there's like this funny thing where people are in OA, they say OA is not scalable, and then they go to wholesale and they're like, oh, I'm having trouble in wholesale, right? Which is funny. Yeah. But I think OA is really good. I think I'm just going to really ride OA, and what I'm focused on right now is pretty much the two things that I like most so far is just learning about real estate and learning about marketing and like marketing funnels and stuff like that. Those are the two things that I'm focusing on right now. So I don't really have any plans outside of that, those two things.
Yeah. So like with the OA, how do you feel like what are your like tangible steps for how you're gonna like go from where you are now to like increase it like 2x, 3x, or whatever amount that you're gonna grow it? Like what do you think your tangible steps are? I mean, obviously there's like hundreds of them probably, but
yeah, for sure, Seth. So like the first step for most people that are just starting on Amazon, they're doing everything themselves, right? But eventually you get the luxury of start to hiring people. And a lot of this is like, I'm probably going to clip this, right? But like this, everybody thinks that they have like this secret sauce, right? And there's these people that think they're the most intelligent person in the world on Twitter, talking about how they have this super secret sauce product finder method and this and that. And I need you to pay me $5,000 to learn this thing in the mentorship and this and that, right? And they think that there's all this sauce, and there's honestly not. It doesn't really exist at all. It's just a lot of really basic stuff. I know you asked me a certain question, but I'm saying like a lot of very basic stuff that we do. And what we do, you might think, oh, it's special. Nobody can source like me, this and that. That is simply not true at all. You learn this business in, say, like a year, 2 years. Somebody else can learn it in a year, 2 years. They can learn it in a month if you give them the right guidance. So basically what I'm saying is at first you do everything, and then, you know, there was this podcast I listened to, and basically they talked about how there's two different ways people run their businesses, basically where their business revolves around them, right? Where they're like, oh, nobody can do this. I'm the best, this and that, right? And then the other person that is like super hands off, and they're like, you know what, like my team, I trust in my team, you know. So I'm basically transitioning into I'm just going to trust in my team and build a team. So like right now, the tangible next steps that you asked, sorry, finally get to your question, is I finally hired a guy for 𝗬𝗂A. So I don't really have to source for 𝗬𝗂A. And then I plan on hiring another guy to learn shoes. And then he's just going to source OA shoes. And I very confidently think that just off of those two people that are sourcing, I could get to like 2-3 mil a year in revenue off of 2 VAs.
Yeah, like that's some good expectations to have for your VAs. I feel like I feel like you can have those expectations for your VAs because you're going to give them some very confident direction in how to actually do it in a way that works for you. A lot of people will just hire a VA and they'll be doing like $3K a month in sales, and they don't exactly know like their way to find products, and they're just like, go find products, VA. And,
right.
But Cody, where can people find you if they want to connect with you more?
Yeah, they can find me on YouTube, Instagram, you know.
Codyflips on YouTube. You have a Discord.
Yeah, I've had Codyflips on YouTube.
The little
VA on Instagram, and then it's just Codyflips on Twitter. Sorry, what was that, Seth?
We have our names on the bottom. I forgot, but yeah, it's just Codyflips on YouTube. Thank you so much for coming on, Cody, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and take care. Bye.
Yeah, for sure.